Abujo, honey, Dante, Wache, good morning. I did my morning prayers and my smudge, and as I was doing it, because this is not scripted, or I don't write about what I'm going to talk about, or and I think that there's some really strong alliances that we have already, and the the Assembly of First Nations, they have a lot of work because I did some research and having to basically have our own constitution and to always compete with the white legislation, and when you think about politics and governance and how many people work in one cabinet with the minister of that cabinet, it's we can't compare because we're too busy being separate, and that's what they want. They, part of it, part of that government is, we got separated in each reserve, HBCR, and I totally would be in alliance to have it all the same, like for membership, because if we're all on the under the Indian Act, anyways, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't that be a reality? It might not happen in my life. That might maybe hopefully it can happen in my grandchildren's and my great grandchildren's lifetime. Beside from the policy part of it, I see the struggles that our leaders are faced with because, like, even with the cabinet, there's so much work to do, so many reserves and territory to cover for one person, and like I said, with the government of Canada and the Prime Minister, they have like so many people under the ministry, and how they have so many workers under that ministry, and we should be given the same if that's the case. I mean, what makes us any different? We were the original peoples of this area of North America, so under the federal jurisdiction and trajectory means, I think that they've always been the dominant paradigm, and I think that needs to change. And when I was in school, I did some work on utopistics with Immanuel Wallerstein, and great work. He was a Marxist, and I truly have to believe that I'm a Marxist in heart too, because I think that there should be a little bit more equality. I live in the province of Alberta, and right at the moment, and this is a very rich province, and nobody goes hungry here, but there's a lot of homelessness, and for a province that rich, it shouldn't matter. There shouldn't be any homelessness. I see a lot of poverty, and it's more First Nations people, and it's really a far cry to a long way to go. And when I think of the leaders, I think that they need a lot of prayers too, because they have a lot of responsibility. So what, I really commend all of the leaders that work hard for our people. Thank you, Miigwech. Hi. I think it's important that we build our leaders up because it's a lot of work. I know I sure wouldn't want to be dealing with all these people that don't look at me as a true sovereign nation. I'm already marked with social closure even before that meeting begins, because it seems like they're always having to deal with the Indian problem. And if they only shared, I don't think that there would be much of a problem. We become, a body of people, or a governed people that is governed under the Indian Act, that needs to be regulated, and that's what they did. I don't know if any people are aware of the Trilateral Commission. That was created in the post-industrialism and in the Cold War, right after the Cold War, when oil, there was a deal with a family, and they were given $1 million, and that at that time it was a lot of money. It's like 100 million now, and So that family was able to invest in oil, and that's what started the railways. And so it all one, one family got lucky, and that was it. So I mean, it's not, they're not, it was all about money. So I think when I look at that reality of the Trilateral Commission, it was a design plan to keep people at bay, to keep uh, population controlled, and to, keep the money in their pockets and to have us as slaves. So that's why I don't believe in all of the success and driving hard, and I have to own, a piece of property and own a home. Like, to be honest, I really don't care, because it really doesn't matter after you die. I watched, there was a giveaway. I remember my Uncle Leo, before he passed away, he loved me and my brother Isidore, or Sonny Isidore. He loved us. Like, every time we came in the room, you know, uh, he'd always pay close attention to us. And this one time before he passed away, he really wanted to try hard to play that fiddle, and that made me proud, because he wanted to tell me something, those old people. He wanted to tell me. So after he passed on, he was with Kathleen and my grandparents, Viola and John. They really they took counsel in each other. Those old people, they do things together. Go to casino, go bingo, go in the bush. And Kathleen was a very beautiful quilter. And anyways, Uncle Leo, they passed away, and when I went to their house, and it became like a big party house over there, and all the people were kind of upset, because it shouldn't have been that way, but it was. And I had a dream one time. I went there, and I just popped in and out, and I had a dream of that house, and I had a dream of Uncle Leo, and there was a store, and I went in there as a store, and I could see the prices. Like, he was just even selling fishing lure, and he had cigarettes and candy, and I think cigarettes were like rolled up tobacco, and and he had them in a pack, and he sold them for like 25 cents. So when I went in there, I knew. So when I told that dream to my cousin Peter, I said, Peter, I had this dream of your dad. And so I told him that dream, and and he said that. He said, you can have anything in here. He said, anything, it's yours. So I took this tin, and it was it had pictures, and it was like gold to me, because those are very, very sacred. And so what I did is I went and took them home, got them developed, and there are pictures from people from all over. I found a picture of Lorette Wabus, and I sent those pictures to, her daughter, and I found some pictures of people, and I donated them to the archives at Akomayu, and to preserve, our story, and so that really is really significant to me. And then when I moved back home after, me and Christine, his granddaughter, my cousin, we went through the house again, and I found this braid of sweetgrass in the rafters, and it was my great auntie Julia that picked it. And when I unraveled it, I looked at the paper, and it was March or May 13th, 1970. So I would have been 3 years old when she picked that. And so that was very significant to me, because I knew that my auntie Julia picked that sweetgrass. And she gave me some really good teachings, that old woman. She really, really loved the people. She loved her community. She loved her family. She did, she would do anything for her family. She loved the people. This one time I went and visited her. My dad always made sure that I went to see the old people. and I got her to help me do up my zipper, and I had that old lady friggin', you know, use a coat hanger and help me up do up my jeans, and she told me that that zipper's gonna bust, and sure enough it did. So she helped me sew another zipper on my jeans, like in that house. When I think of you know family, and family simply stands for father and mother, I love you, and those old peoples were pillars, and they were, the foundation of our community, and so were those women. The elders in Ganabajing, they wrote a story about, you know, the history of that area and their stories, and I'm proud of them because, I spent a lot of time with the elders in that community. I would go and ask them questions, and a lot of them are gone now, and you know, we think that it's all gonna continue on. The circle continues on, but the people have to, go back to the earth and go back home. And so I would my suggestion to the young people is get to know your elders, ask questions, go visit them, you know, bring them a little present, a little gift. They love that, you know. Offer to make them something, a cup of tea, or you know, because that's what's needed. Adopt an older person, adopt an elder, because nobody wants to be alone, and I think that relationship between young person and elder, it keeps life, you know, happy and joyous and full of joy, joining the old and the young, right? And to be able to adopt that, and because when I look at older people, the old people, they don't want to be alone, even though they say they, like get cranky and because they get tired easily, and but they love having the youth around. They love having all the children around. But reach out to them, ask them questions about the history of the family, and because they're not going to be around forever, and we got to preserve in our family lines and our bloodlines, and we can't think negative and have negative views about one another. We have to be strong, even as old people. We have to. I'm calling myself an old person now. That's kind of scary, but we have to invite the young people in our hearts, and when they come to ask questions, there's no such thing as a dumb question, and we have to be open and honest, and let that lineage shine, because we need it. We need that light to shine through that hollow bone, because it's all we are. Esquapeas. We're only conduits in this life. We're not going to be anything above that. Creator is above that, and all we are is helpers, and joining family together, and having that alliance with each other. I finished my babe's jingle dress last night, and I smudged it all before I went to sleep, and thinking of her dancing and how many people she's gonna help, and that makes me proud that Auntie did that. That's part of her lineage. That's part of her story now. And when we do these things for our children and our grandchildren, they stay away from drugs and alcohol. They stay away from those extremes of life that will bring them down. When we teach them about culture, when we teach them about language, when we teach them about these ways, because they're very strict. They're not, my Beebs would never, disrespect that. Even as small as she is, she won't disrespect that dress when she has that on, and it's just something that she knows. And I'm very grateful to have, been part of that for her, because she had no other female in her life that could take that time and that discipline with her. And I'm very honored that Creator chose me, and I know she is too because we're like twins, and I love her very much, and I love all the females, babies in my life.